Here's the job we're doing today. This is a metal building, as you can see here, right on a farm here. They got a walk-through door here. I've already got the drill jig on the door here. It's 2 3/4 inch back set. We're going to just install a deadbolt right above it right here, and we'll go ahead and again, this is a metal door, so we'll have to use our metal bits on this to get through the metal. Okay, so these are the metal cutting bits. They're a few dollars more, but you can get a number of doors out of them that I'll use to get through the metal in both the crossbore and for the bolt. Okay, there's a bushing. This bushing is, you pull this out if you're going to go for 2 3/4 inch back set. You simply pull that out and then turn it around the other way. Then if it's 2 3/8 inch back set, then you just leave it in there. There's a set screw you can put if you want to. As you can see, there's not a whole lot to it. It's very, very thin metal door. So that's got our crossbore in there, and we'll go ahead and line up and get for our bolt on the edge of the door. We'll drill that next using the same type of bit. Of course, it'll be smaller, to fit the whatever size latch you're using. Normally 7/8 inch or 1 inch. Here you can see a few scratches on the edge of the door. I always tell the customer that may happen, and of course that kind of thing is covered in the work order. I do carry several colors of automotive touch-up paint to fix issues like this, but in this case the scratches are not a real large concern since the strike plate is going to cover that area. Okay, you can see that inside the door there's a fiberboard fill in the door, but towards the front of the door, right here where our hole is, there's space where we could lose our tool down inside the door if we're not careful. So I just stuck a little bit of extra cardboard from a cardboard box right here to fill that hole in, because I don't want to lose my tool in there. Okay, now this tool here is the Pit Bull tool by Major Manufacturing, and come on the front of the door here, you see that we need a little indentation for our plate to fit in, and this tool will make the indentation for us to fit the bolt plate into on the edge of the door. Now whenever you're going to use this tool, you always want to warn the customer that they could have to do a little paint repair, as this can crack the paint on their door. But to start with, we're going to have to get some, and they recommend that you use a grease like for a bearing grease. Put a little grease in this, and we stick this up inside there, and we bolt this into that, and we just squeeze it down real tight, and it will indent the door. The little legs on the tool, they want pointing away from the seam. They want the legs on the tool on this corner over here away from the seam of the door. Okay, now there's a couple of metal plates that come and are clamped on either side of the door to help secure the door while we're making this indentation in the door. Okay, so this piece here goes inside the door. Again, the ears go on the folded side of the door, not the side that has the seam on it. And then this part here will just bolt into that, like so, once I get it in there. There's a mark on the piece here that does the indentation that you can line up with your guide mark, and to make sure you got it in there at the right height. Before you start doing the indentation, make sure it's lined up right, and also make sure that it's nice and vertical with the door. You don't want to have it cockeyed, turn one way or the other. You want it nice and straight with the door. We just screw this in there, Again, keep it lined up like we want it, and then it's a 1 1/8 inch wrench. You just tighten it up until it won't move anymore. And I'm going to put one more clamp on there now that I got this going. We'll put a big heavy-duty clamp up on here, right here in the center. They only recommend 2, but I go with 3, just to make sure, try to make sure that I don't bend that door out. So just bend it in until it, or screw it in until it stops. And once it's all the way screwed in, that's it. That's pretty good right there. There's some Allen screws in here, and we tighten those Allen screws down, and it will mark the location to drill for our holes in our plate, our bolt plate. So if you get that, get those holes marked, and you take this off, you're good to go. They're already where you can see them at, and you just drill those holes and you can tap them or whatever you need to do. Okay, now if you're taking this off, you want to hold the inside part again so it doesn't drop down in the door. This door here, like I said, I got that cardboard in there and it's not going to be a problem, but some doors, there could be, a bigger hole or whatever. Now there is a spot where you can tie some fishing line or nylon string onto this part that's in the door, so if it does fall in there, you can try to get it back out of there. But the best thing to do is just not let it fall in there. All right, you can see we got a nice indentation here for our plate, our bolt plate right there. Okay, we're all done with this. You can see we got our deadbolt right there. We matched it. We matched this bottom lock so they're both the same key. See, on the steel jamb, we just put a hole in the jamb to put the bolt through, and that's pretty secure, just like that. I don't really need to cut out a whole plate. I really think it weakens the jamb more by cutting out a big hole in the plate. And if I wanted to reinforce it, I'd put a steel plate behind it and just put a couple of bolts through it. But for this application, that's fine. When using the pit bowl tool, follow all of the instructions that come with the tool. It is very important to use the steel bars that come with the tool and clamp them very tightly to the sides of the door. Now here's another little kit that I have made up that I wanted to show. That since I've demonstrated how to cut out the plates on the jamb with the hammer and chisel, I want to go ahead and show you this other item that's a pretty nifty item. This is a template by Porter Cable, and it has it's adjustable. These little pieces will come out and make different size holes, so it's designed to cut the most standard cutouts for different sized plates that you'll come across out there. And then it comes with a bit, and I use a roto-zip. I bought one special just to keep for this particular purpose, and like I say, I made up a little kit here, but it has a bit for mortising out for the plates that comes with the template. And I'll show how that works. Okay, this is a Schlage Deadbolt plate, and you can see that it'll fall inside this hole right here, which is the right hole. The hole in the template is a little bit larger than the plate because it has to allow a little bit of room for the size of the cutter that's they send with this. So that's all calculated in. If you use the cutter that comes with the kit, you're good to go. Just find out which hole you need to use for which template. And again, like I say, that all these things come out, these pieces come out. Some pieces come out and turn around for different size holes and so on, but that's all in the instructions that come with the kit. So we're going to see how to use this. So you can see that the tip of the bit is just a little bit deeper than the template. Once I put the roto zip up against the template, I can see that the bit's coming through about 1/8 of an inch, and again, that's normally about where I start at. So you make that adjustment before you put the template on the door jamb. You can use the plate you're installing for a spacer to set the depth of cut. Just place the plate on the bottom of the template like this. Then adjust the cutter to the correct cutting depth. Okay, this is the adjustment right here. And of course they have different models of these roto zips, but this particular one here, you just loosen this knob and you can move this up and down to adjust that to get that to the right height for that particular cutter. And you can see that this cutter has a guide on it that's going to keep it from hitting on the template, and they have to allow a little bit of room for that guide, so that's why the actual hole in the template is a little bit larger than the size of the plate that you're going to install. Okay, so we have these little pegs that I've already put that peg in the 1 3/8 inch door, and then that will center that correctly over the door. Okay, so when I put that up on this door, this is a 1 3/8 inch door, you see that will center this cutout for, and here this is for a deadbolt plate to be recessed into the edge of the door. By putting these pegs where they belong, it'll line that up perfectly in the center of the door. But on the jamb, I don't always use that on the jamb because the door doesn't always center in the space on the jamb. It depends if there's a doorstop, the rubber weather seal type doorstop, or what they have on the door as to where exactly you want to place that. So I do not always use the peg. Sometimes I'll go ahead and I'll move it in a little closer to the stop, like so, and not use the pegs. But if you want to center it, you can use the peg and it will center it right there. But I have found that sometimes it needs to be a little bit closer to the stop on the jamb side. So we're going to go ahead and use it on the door. We got a hole drilled for a deadbolt on this wood door here, and we're going to use the stops up here, and we're going to line that up. Now there are some little marks here, right here. There's little marks, so you can line that up dead center over your hole. Got the stop up here so it will center for a 1 3/8 inch door, which is what we have here. And then there's this little hole there for a nail at the top and the bottom. Put our little the nails in there to tack that in place, and then we can just use our cutter bit and our rotor tool and just cut that out. As you start your cut, the best thing to do is to go ahead and just center up on the hole that's already in the door that you already made for your bolt. Get the tool down flat against the template there and turn it on. Now with this demonstration today, I have just gone over an old application, and so it does not look quite as good as a totally new install, but you can see the new work. You can see this leaves a very nice, very clean, professional looking cutout, and the bolt plate should sit right in there. The Porter cable template is like most new tools. You want to follow all of the instructions. It takes practice to use it correctly. I would suggest practicing on an old door before trying to use a template on an actual job. The basic steps to install a deadbolt are: 1. Inspect the door and existing locks for proper operation. 2. Read the instructions for the new lock and note all of the specifications for the installation. 3. Place the installation jig on the door or use a template to mark the location of the holes to be drilled. 4. Drill the crossbore. Remember to drill from both sides. 5. Drill the edge bore. 6. Mark the jamb for the location of the hole and strike plate. 7. If required, mortise out the door edge for the bolt plate. 8. Install the bolt. 9. Install the exterior lock cylinder. 10. Install the interior lock cylinder or thumb turn. 11. Close the door and double check the location on the jamb for the bolt hole. 12. Drill the hole in the jamb for the bolt. 13. Mortise the door jamb for the strike plate. 14. Install the strike plate. 15. Check the door and the lock for proper operation. The specifications for a common residential door lock are normally a back set of 2 3/8 or 2 3/4 of an inch. The most common is 2 3/8 inches. The cross bore is normally 2 1/8 inch, and the edge bore is normally a 1 inch. This skill is pretty easy to practice if you can find an old door. Once you have found an old door, you can install a deadbolt up and down the door. In fact, you can use both edges of the door. Installing 1 or 2 practice locks will give you the confidence that you need to accept this kind of work and begin installing deadbolts for your customers. That concludes this course. We want to thank you for buying this course. We hope you found it interesting and informative. Please take just a moment to like the video and also subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.